Over the weekend, AT&T announced it would buy T-Mobile USA in a $39 billion deal that would make it the biggest cell phone company in the country. But is this good or bad news for consumers? CBS News business and economics correspondent Rebecca Jarvis is here with us with the details this morning. Rebecca, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Chris.
So what's the probability that a deal this size is actually going to go through?
AT&T thinks it's going to get done in the next 12 months, but the analysts I'm talking to say that it's going to take a lot more to get this deal approved. There will likely be many strings attached, and that's because when you consolidate these two companies together, AT&T and T-Mobile, all of a sudden you shrink the size of the overall industry. AT&T right now is the largest carrier. They have 95.5 million subscribers. Once you add on that 33.7 million subscribers that T-Mobile has, all of a sudden you have this mega player in the industry, and that means less competition for consumers, and that means that consumers can get snubbed as far as pricing goes, as far as service goes, and as far as offerings and innovation go. That usually tends to be the case when you have only a few players in an industry.
Yeah. If you're a T-Mobile subscriber right now, will your service change for the better or for the worse, potentially?
See, that's the question that everyone wants to know. And AT&T, generally speaking, rates the lowest among consumer reports for service as well as customer service. So for T-Mobile people who then get switched on to the AT&T lines, because once this deal does happen, if it does happen, the whole company is AT&T. They absorb T-Mobile, the T-Mobile name goes away. So essentially, there's a sense that perhaps some of that T-Mobile service that people are used to being slightly exemplary to AT&T is going to go away.
Well, what if you're an AT&T subscriber already, and then you're adding on almost 40 million others? Does then your service suffer potentially?
Well, it could suffer potentially, but the case that AT&T is actually making right now, and it's a case that they're making to get regulators to approve this deal, is that in rural areas in particular, service is going to increase and it's going to go up. They are building out towers in New York and San Francisco as well. So AT&T is making this argument that service for AT&T consumers could actually improve, and that's why they say the deal needs to go through.
Okay, so maybe service will get better potentially, but you talk about there being less, I guess, less pieces of the pie out there and less options. So what about pricing now? Yeah,
pricing likely could go higher. I mean, this is what generally happens in an industry where you have a handful of players competing for dollars. Well, all the players have to diversify on their pricing. T-Mobile was the lowest cost carrier out there. Well, now when you subtract them out of the equation, AT&T can have the power to actually increase its prices.
Now, if you are a T-Mobile customer right now, should you be thinking about, well, maybe I should make that move and get an AT&T phone, just to kind of head off something that's going to potentially happen here?
There's no reason to do that, because phones that have this T-Mobile insignia on them, they, with the T-Mobile logo, as long as they're second and third generation phones, they will be covered under the AT&T plan. So there's no need to rush out and get an AT&T phone.
Can I ask what this does to some of the smaller carriers? It's tough to think of Sprint as being a quote-unquote smaller carrier.
Right. Well, the reality here is that there's a major concern that if Sprint faces the competition of Verizon and AT&T, these two mega players, it could really hurt Sprint down the line.
Yeah. All right, Rebecca, thank you very much.
Thanks,
Good to see you.